Every year, Chris and I get on the road and check out all the vineyards. And this year we did a little bit later than we normally do, which has actually been awesome. Here it is, it's October 4th. And seeing the fruit right before we pick it has been really, really special for me. I love the crisp, cool fall mornings, and now here we are in the late afternoon. The sun's just beating down on the grapes, and we're going to allow for another week or two of hang time here at Shampoo. But it's been an epic trip. We started at Red Mountain, got to visit Clipson and Red Mountain Vineyard, and then Walla Walla this morning at Pepper Bridge, Seven Hills, and then today at the Benches, Discovery, and last stop Shampoo. So I'm fired up about this vintage. I think 2017 has a chance to go down as one of the best ever in Washington. You'll hear from all the farmers today, but it's one where we're hanging fruit a little bit longer than we ever have. And I think it's just going to make for some really interesting wines with lots of character and really cool flavor profiles that I'm excited to get in the cellar and let Chris do his magic with. So, but this road trip is always fun, and the Grateful Dead in the car. Uncle Mike, my brother-in-law, came along this year to capture this awesome footage, so much better than my iPhone. So thank you to Mike Lorraine and Quantum Productions for making this awesome video. And now you'll get to see the rest of the Washington wine industry and what 2017 has to offer. Cheers. Tell me a little bit about the 2017 vintage. Here we are in October. It's a beautiful fall day. Tell me how you think the fruit's going to do here in 2017.
Oh, the fruit's going to be amazing. We started out with a very cool vintage, and we were thinking, oh, this is going to be like maybe 2011, 2012. And then Mother Nature turned on the heat in middle of June, and things got really hot, and we had a chain of record-breaking hot days. And in the last couple of weeks, Mother Nature's turned the heat off again, and now you have all the hang time in the world that you need. If you look at our canopies, they're big enough so that we don't have a lot of sunburn, yet we have adequate sun exposure on the clusters. And with this cool weather, it's predicted to extend for quite some time. So you have all the hang time you need. The winemakers don't need to be in a hurry to come out and pick the fruit. The soil type here is very uniform because we're a long, skinny vineyard. So we have primarily Worden silt loam soil. It's always breezy here. As you go across the road, so to speak, they get less wind than we do. Up here, the leaves are always moving in the air, and we have some winemakers that believe that leads for the grapes to have a little bit of a thicker skin, which they like. We're an old vineyard. We've been here since 1984. We have this wonderful exposure where it's windy all the time. We have the amazing heat units that Red Mountain gets, which is usually over 3,000 a year. And it just makes stunning, big, bold, red, gnarly grapes.
Yeah, I love that. Here we are at Red Mountain Vineyard, and this is our second vintage now in 2017. Tell me a little bit about how you expect this fruit to work in the Passing Time wine, and talk about its flavor profiles and what it could add to the Passing Time family here at Red Mountain Vineyard.
Yeah, this is a really interesting site. It's right in the middle, just in the kind of tenderloin of Red Mountain, I would say. It's along the same slope as Grand Ciel, which you mentioned, as Ciel de Cheval, legendary vineyard. So it has the same soil types and elevation. And it was planted in the mid-90s, so it has some vine age.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about the 2017 vintage in general and kind of what you're seeing up here on Red Mountain this year?
2017 has been an interesting vintage because of the cooler winter and some snow on the ground. The vines were a little later than recently anyway. Got bud break and started the season a little later than the past 2 years. But the summer was very warm. We got some very nice weather through July and August, and now we're getting those cooling temperatures that we get in late September and early October to preserve acidity and really ripen these vines just perfectly at moderate sugar levels and moderate acids, and should make some beautiful Washington fruit.
What is different about Red Mountain wines, just in general? Why this rush to them?
Well, I think the thing that people really appreciate about Washington Cabernet is structure. Big, forceful wines that are delicious. They can age a long time. I think Red Mountain really tends to aim towards red fruits, more red fruits than black fruits, although different vineyards can do that differently. And I just think that they're big, powerful wines that when people think of Cabernet and Washington Cabernet, they liken it to that power.
Mm-hmm. All right, out here with Tom Walliser, Pepper Bridge Vineyard here in the heart of the Walla Walla Valley. Tom, why don't you talk a little bit about the 2017 harvest here?
Well, how about the 2017 year,
There you
which
go,
was
that's
kind of
right.
crazy. Well, we started out with real extremes in terms of winter temperatures. We had -0 temperatures down into, I think, -10 here. And fortunately, the plants were dormant and they survived. And as you can see here, we have a crop on the cab here that looks pretty good. Then we started into a real late spring that was wet and cold. And then all of a sudden summer came and it was hotter than heck, and fruit caught up and the vines survived it well. And so now we're looking at October here, and harvest is just around the corner. It's a nice crop. Clusters are medium in size and somewhat loose, and berry size is not too bad. Flavors are coming rapidly on this stuff, and sugars are there, so we're getting real close to a great harvest here.
And again, thank you for all that you do for the wine industry and providing this great fruit for our label. And yeah.
Well, Dame, it's just been fun working with you, so hopefully this continues on and you have a great vintage this year.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. It's awesome.
Great.
We're out here at Seven Hills Vineyard, and a beautiful fall morning. Tell us a little bit about the 2017 vintage.
The 2017 vintage has been great. We kind of got off to a slow, wet start, but once the weather changed in June, things got sunny and warm, and it has been cruising right along ever since. We caught up in heat degree units, which is just a measurement of how hot it's been over the entire growing season, and we're seeing pick dates very similar to 2012 and not much different than 2016, so we're really happy with the vintage.
Why does Cabernet do so well here in Walla Walla?
I think Cabernet does especially well here because it gets to hang for so long. Because Walla Walla is not as hot as the Horse Seven Hills or Red Mountain, you get to let it hang through October. Sometimes people get to pick well into October, even early November, and that extra hang time means that the flavors get to develop and things get to be perfectly ripe when it's picked. And so usually we see our first frost about the first full moon in October. Got down to 33 degrees this morning at 2 a.m. We came out, we turned on our wind machines bright and early. And the wind machines help us keep things from frosting and keeps the grapes happy, and they get to hang out longer.
How satisfying is it to see, all your work, all your labor, the fruits of your labor here, literally, and then 3 years later to taste that in a bottle? I mean, that's pretty special.
That's my favorite part. And when doing that, I get to remember that vintage. I get to remember, I picked those grapes on that day, and we were hoping it wasn't going to rain or something. And I get to remember that, and that's the best part. And you remember how the whole season went and how the winemakers were to work with, and it's just the most rewarding feeling.
Yeah, the 2017's been another good year. It's been a challenging year. True testament that you always have to stay on your toes in this business. We had a lot of winter moisture come in with all the snow that we had, but then it heated up real quick in July. We had perfect heat spell right after cell division, so cell enlargement stage, so we were able to really stress the vines, get small clusters, real small berries. So it's, you know, good quality year, lower tonnages, kind of across the board this year. But for cab, it's excellent. And so, especially out along these bluffs, you know, real windy, hot. You know, we have real good control of the canopies. So 1311 is located just up above us. It's about 750 feet elevation. So like I said, the river's right at 340 feet. So we're just up above the river with that rocky soils. Right down on the river is the most growing degree days in the state. We'll have over 4,000 growing degree days. As you move up, it cools a little bit, but block 1311, I mean, we've already had over 3,200 growing degree days this season. So if we're over 3,000, it's considered a warm year. So we're even tracking higher than the average. So it's a hot site, shallow soils. We picked a clone that we feel suits the site perfectly. So, you know, it's real loose clusters, small berries. We stress it out. It gets hit by the wind all the time. So it's, you know, Cab Sauv can take a beating, and then it deals with stress a lot better than most all other varieties. And that's why we've kind of gone to mostly Cab Sauv out on these bluffs, because it's
Here we are at the Discovery Vineyard on a beautiful October afternoon, close to harvest. Milo, tell us a little bit about the 2017 vintage and how it's been working here in the vineyard.
Well, Damon, the 2017 vintage has been interesting from the very beginning. We started out with a lot of rain and a very wet and kind of a cold spring. By the 1st of May, we had about almost 6 inches of rain, which we only get 5 to 8 inches of rain here. So we had tons of moisture in the ground, and so we had to compensate for that. But it kind of slowed down when we started to get into fruit set, and we had a great bloom. So things kind of moderated. We had a very hot week in June and kind of got us off to a good start. You know, Cabernet is just kind of natural here. It's when Paul Shampoo helped me prepare this vineyard and start to raise fruit, we started out with mostly Cabernet, and it's definitely been the easiest. It's seems to have good, you know, growing traits. It isn't wild and crazy like Syrah. We have a nice long Indian summer, so in the fall we have plenty of time to get it ripe. And I think that's probably where the other sites, you know, in the other parts of the world are probably lacking, is the long, hot, dry falls that really help the Cabernet Sauvignon come into its own.
I mean, really, Passing Time started on the fruit from this vineyard, and really our flagship Horse Heaven Hills Cab. You know, the bulk of it, most of it comes from right here at the Discovery Vineyard, and we just want to thank you for all that you've done for us and help building the Passing Time brand, and we look forward to working with you for years to come, and maybe just talk about, you know, what the Passing Time Discovery Vineyard relationship might mean to you a little bit.
Well, it's been one of the one of the best things that have ever happened to me in my life. I mean, I decided to retire. I was going to see how I could do with raising grapes. And with the help of Paul Shampoo, my dream was able to come true. And then to be able to work with a great team like Passing Time, it's just icing on the cake for me. And we certainly have been proud to be part of the team, and hope that we can always do the kind of work that you like so that we can stay there. It's been a great experience.
Well, thank you, Milo. You guys are the best, and we really appreciate you and look forward to working with you for years to come.
All right. Thanks, David.
Cheers.